Sadistic Penguin Studios presents Yumper and Svo at the Show podcast with Tom Yumper Garcia.
Have you paid your dues, Jack? Yes, sir. The check is in the mail.
And Justin Svo Svoboda.
What, so I gotta sit here and eat dessert alone like I'm fucking Steven Glansberg?
It's almost time, so grab a drink. Get your popcorn ready and get comfortable to hear two guys from Chicago talking movies.
Hey, we're back. I know you haven't seen us in over a month and a half, and that's particularly my fault, but we do have a podcast still. My name is Tom Garcia, aka Yumper, and I'm with my other co-host, Justin Svoboda for Yumper and Svo at the show. Mr. Svoboda, how you doing today?
Yumper, it is good to see you. We talk every day, but we haven't recorded in a while, so it's nice to see my podcast partner, my OG podcast partner, like up and on the screen, because you're the one that I like talking movies with.
Same, my friend, same. Good to be back. As a swing of things, we got a packed show for you today. We're going to be talking about some movies that we think are Christmas movies. How you feel about that topic, Will?
I mean, I love it. I think this is a hot button topic, right? Is this a Christmas movie? Isn't it a Christmas movie? Like I said in the tweet, we're staying away from Die Hard because we all know that that's a Christmas movie.
Definitely.
But these ones are kind of fringe.
Kind of friends, yeah. Will we agree on them? I don't know. Will we not agree on them? I don't know. We'll find out.
Well, and even some of the ones that we picked, maybe they won't be. Maybe like we look at each other and we're like, no, you know what? On second thought, that's not a Christmas movie. Could
be, man. That's all the point of having this discussion. But let's roll into our normal set of things and go into what we've been watching, Swell. So what have you been watching this week, man?
So the last time we talked, I went to the theaters and I saw the Eli Roth horror movie Thanksgiving. And then my old man came over on Monday and we watched Killers of the Flower Moon again. It's out available to buy on Apple TV Plus. And I bought it right away. It's a Scorsese movie, so I bought it right away. And so we watched that again. Fantastic movie. Slowly creeping up into my top tier, like Scorsese movies. Love the indigenous representation. Love the message of the movie. Like I think I said this before, but De Niro and DiCaprio have no redeeming qualities at all. They're just terrible, terrible people that took advantage of the Osage. You got to see this movie if you get a chance. And then the Eli Roth Thanksgiving movie. Dude, what a fun, goofy horror movie set around the premise of Thanksgiving. I absolutely adored it. I cannot wait to own it. It's a Thanksgiving movie that Kelly will never, ever watch. But you, I think, will absolutely love it. I highly recommend it. What about you, Yump? What have you been watching?
So I haven't seen Killers of the Flower Moon yet. I'm looking forward to seeing it. Like I said, you gave it really high praise. Everybody's talked to giving it high praise. My brother went and saw it. He told me it's a very hard movie to watch. But he says it's very good. And then he also saw Thanksgiving too, and he gave it glowing review of it, same as you did. And I know Rick Hoffman's in there, who's Louis Litt from Suits. I know Baloney doesn't like Suits, but I love Suits. But Rick Hoffman's in there as one of the main characters. So I'm looking forward to seeing that once I start getting back into watching movies again. But I did check out two films. The first was Blue Beetle. I finally saw Blue Beetle with my son. I haven't got around to it until recently. We actually watched it, and I actually really enjoyed the movie. I love the Latino representation in it, and I think it was really, really done well. The only thing I have like kind of questions about it is how the grandma was able to drive these machines and shit like that, like out of nowhere. But it was very enjoyable, even though it had George Lopez in there. And then my other movie I watched, which I actually did a mini review for Yumper and Soul on the Sadistic Penguin Studios YouTube channel, was The Baker with Ron Perlman. Now, this movie was filmed in 2022 and released this year. It's kind of basically like I described in the review, it's basically John Wick goes to the bakery. It's a movie that I wish would have been made maybe 10 years ago when Ron Perlman was more physically capable of doing things. And don't get me wrong, in this movie, he does a lot of shit, man. He breaks the guy's neck with a fucking baguette. Like, no shit. It's actually pretty funny. But it's just like you could tell he's a little limited, but he still is in incredible shape, and I really enjoyed it. You can actually check it out on Prime. I think it's like $3 a rent. Like, I would highly recommend if you just want to see like an action movie that's kind of close to the Wick movies. Have you seen any of these movies, Swell? You're muted, my friend.
I don't know how I got muted. I'm totally with you on Blue Beetle. I enjoyed the heck out of Blue Beetle. I know you don't love George Lopez. I'm not a big George Lopez fan. But I love the family dynamic of this movie. I love the main character. I forgot what his name is, but he's in Cobra Kai.
It's Cholo Madrina.
Yeah, he's fantastic in Cobra Kai as the main character in Cobra Kai. I have not seen The Baker, but I love Ron Perlman. I love Sons of Anarchy. I loved Hellboy. I will watch anything with Ron Perlman, even the terrible 1980s adaptation of Beauty and the Beast when he played Beast. But I like Ron Perlman, so like I would check this out because it's a recent movie, right?
Yeah, it's recent. Cheech Marin. Yeah, it's recent, man. It's really enjoyable. It's also has the guy. Yeah, remember Grandma's Boy, JP.
Yes.
He plays.
Is that Nick Swartzen?
No, it's
No, not Nick Swartzen.
Joel David Moore. He plays the guy who thinks he's a robot. He
yeah.
plays
Tell me
this movie.
how much do clothes cost in the Matrix?
Yes, I love that movie.
Me too.
But he plays actually Ron Perlman's son in this movie.
Okay.
And it's actually a good job done by Emma Ho, who plays a kind of a mute granddaughter. It's not the greatest movie, but it's action packed, and I enjoyed it. It was worth my hour and a half.
Sometimes you need those.
Yes, definitely. Dougie knows what I'm talking about. Such a great movie. Maybe one day we'll do a Grandma's Boy review.
I love it. I love it. I'm with you on Blue Beetle, man. I think it got shit on and it didn't deserve it. Like it was action packed. The story kept me involved. The family dynamic was cool.
Yeah, definitely. I think there was a lot of underlying racial stuff to go with Blue Beetle that people were criticizing it for and like some of the bigger channels were criticizing it in a racially motivated way, and I thought that was kind of fucked up considering how they're such a big growing channel. And a lot of people, it was all over TikTok and whatnot. For me, it was something big because it's something where representation of Latinos is actually put out in the world as DC decided to run with it. It didn't make a lot of money. It made a little bit of a profit, but from what I was reading, there's actually James Gunn came out and said that there is going to be another Blue Beetle movie, and Cholo is going to be reprising his role. I don't know if the rest of the family will reprise their roles, but he'll be back in some capacity going forward in the DC universe. So hopefully they can just latch on and build better. I think the movie was bad, but build an even better film next time and like build a better franchise and have this character grow, which I liked.
Yeah, I also liked that the villain was Susan Sarandon, right? Like,
yes, which is hilarious.
Like it was pretty funny. No, I was a big fan. I would check out The Baker. You have to see Thanksgiving.
Yes, I would definitely check it out, and I'll check out Killers of the Flower Moon as soon as I get a chance. But with that, Swell, let's roll into our topic. So I restated what the topic is in the beginning of the show. You want to go into a little bit more and tell everybody who just joined us?
Yeah, so we each went through and we picked a few movies that may be Christmas movies, may not be Christmas movies. Definitely have a Christmas theme to them or takes place at some point. And we know that there's there's not a clear line. It's a gray area of what's a Christmas movie, what's not a Christmas movie. And I think Die Hard is the ultimate litmus test of that. People say Die Hard is a Christmas movie. Some people say it's not because it's action and it's violent. When the author of the book and the director of the movie flat out said that this was meant to be a Christmas movie. So we just wanted to see what you guys say. And we're going to go over some of the ones that we enjoy watching when we need just a little bit of break from the sugary family Christmas movies that everybody likes. Even though I like all those sentimental Christmas movies, sometimes these are a nice break.
For sure, my friend. Let's get into our first one.
Who do you play for?
Play for the United States of America.
That's all, gentlemen.
Miracle, made by Disney, directed by Gavin O'Connor, who also directed The Accountant, The Way Back, Warrior, and Pride and Glory. The The movie stars Kurt Russell, Patricia Clarkson, and Noah Emmerich. At a box office of $64 million on a $28 million budget. So, Swole, tell me why you think Miracle is a Christmas movie.
Well, first of all, Miracle is just a great movie, right? This is a fantastic hockey movie, probably the best hockey movie, depending on who you ask. Some people will say Slapshot. Some people might say The Mighty Ducks. For me, this is the ultimate hockey movie. But the only thing in here is that these guys get together and they skate and they play a game on Christmas Day. And that's when they kind of come together and they realize that, hey, we're playing for something a little bit bigger. This is bigger than us. That's what makes it a Christmas movie to me. And it's still like very, very family friendly. It's a good message. So I'm going to put this on the list of, yes, this is a Christmas movie.
So for me, first of all, anything with Kurt Russell, I will watch. And I love Kurt Russell. And Dougie, I love The Goon. I mentioned it in one of my sleeper movies in a list we did a while back.
Everyone loves The Goon. The Goon is fantastic. I love it.
Yes. But in terms of this movie, I think this is a great movie in terms of, like, I love the story. I love the fact that the historical stuff they go back and forth within the movie when they show the timeline and then what the events are happening while he's training the U.S. hockey team. The only thing I don't consider this to be a Christmas movie is because the game really happened in February.
It did. It definitely, like, the game happened in the Olympics, and it is what it is. But the catalyst for everything is the game that they play on Christmas Day. So it might not be like a traditional one, but I'm gonna go with yes, it is.
I'm gonna push back and say, but
okay.
I mean, don't get me wrong though. This movie is good. I just don't know if it fits the Christmas criteria. I'm pretty sure on my list some of them don't either.
And that's okay.
It's just that I watched it again today and I enjoyed it, but I was like, man, when he said in February, he kept saying in February, and I'm like, okay, that's what kind of threw me off about it. But the great thing about this movie is when Kirk Russell took this movie in, he actually took a pay cut for it to give the 800 to 1,000 extras a chance to get actually a full hot meal during your work days instead of brown bag lunches, which I thought was kind of cool of him. They brought Al Michaels back to do voiceover, except for the part where he says, "Do you believe in miracles?" which they actually used the authentic voice over line because the director didn't feel he could capture the same enthusiasm that would have happened if he would have did it, re-recording it. And I thought that was kind of cool. They kind of edited it seamlessly. If you listen to it, it's like really nicely, played out. I thought this was actually, really, really done well. Herb Brooks unfortunately passed away before this movie could come out.
Yeah.
He died in a car accident. But from what I was reading about Herb Brooks when this movie first came out was he was really well respected, complete asshole.
Yeah. No, and everybody that loves hockey knows that he was kind of a dickhead.
Yeah, but he knew like he could get his team to play. The guy won 3 national championships and a gold medal with this team. He's in the U.S. Olympic Hockey Hall of Fame.
Yep.
He's a legend in his own right. And this is more like, this kind of reminds me of like a serious Mighty Ducks movie. It's what kind of reminds you of.
I would agree with that comparison completely.
Yeah, so if you haven't checked this one out, I would definitely check it out. It's a very, very enjoyable movie. Christmas, I don't know. Swolping still, I don't know. But I mean, it's still good to check out.
I'm going to make my whole family watch it on Christmas Day now. You can stream Miracle on Disney Plus, and it is available to rent on Amazon Prime, Apple TV for $3.99. But if you have a Disney Plus subscription, you can watch it for free.
Yes, it's very good. Check it out. But let's get into our second movie, my friend.
Seems like bailing you out of trouble's getting to be a lifetime job for me.
There wouldn't be no trouble except for that king shit cup. All I wanted was something to eat. But the man kept pushing, sir.
Well, you did some pushing on your own, John.
They drew first blood, not me.
First Blood, released in 1982, directed by Ted Kaltiff, who also directed the great and classic Weekend at Bernie's and Wake and Fright, starring Sylvester Stallone, Brian Dennehy, and Richard Crenna. The movie had a box office of $125 million on a budget of $15 million. So let me tell you this, why I think this is a Christmas movie. The movie takes place during December in Christmas time. If you look around throughout the scenery, there's a lot of Christmas stuff in there. And Rambo is actually just going around trying to find his friend to get some food during Christmas time. And instead of having the Christmas spirit, the character of Brian Dennehy decides to be an asshole and throw him in jail. I love this movie. I always seem to have to watch it during Christmas time. I don't know why, It's one of my Stallone movies that is non-Rocky and non-Cobra that I watch constantly. I love Rambo. So what do you think?
Rambo is one of the first like movies that I fell in love with as a kid. I get it completely. Just him walking down like the road in North Washington in his army jacket and all that. Like it's fantastic. This is a great movie. If Die Hard is a Christmas movie, this is a Christmas movie. If Lethal Weapon is a Christmas movie, this is a Christmas movie. I absolutely get that comparison. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh man, we agree on this. I thought we were going to agree on this one, but like to me, it's always been. Some of the things I love about this movie is not just the fact it has a lot of action in it, but not a lot of like killing and deaths, but just like action in general. Is that it tells a good story of how Vietnam vets and came over and basically were treated like trash, and sometimes still are treated like trash today. I wish they would have elaborated more on Brian Dennehy's character, why he disliked Rambo so much. And I actually read the book because I'm a nerd. The book says that Brian Dennehy's character as a sheriff was actually in the Korean War, and when he came back, nobody cared. Vietnam War vets came back, and everybody was all over, and whether they disliked them or liked them, and he got jealous of that and said, "Well, I was in the war too, and nobody cared about me coming back." So that's why he had animosity towards John Rambo, which makes a better story.
That backstory makes it sound a little bit better. Why he dislikes him or whatever.
Yeah, and the movie just makes it seem like he's just a dick. Which
yeah, and that's what I was gonna say. Like Brian Dennehy in this movie is the ultimate dick. Like he's a dick.
The guy from Gladiator. Yes, I love that movie. It's another great movie. Chicago
1992's Gladiator with James Marshall and Cuba Gooding Jr.
The best Gladiator. But crazy thing about this movie was Kurt Russell was tied to this movie as well. He's supposed to be the general that actually is Rambo's handler. He left due to creative differences. Reason being, in the novel, Rambo's supposed to die. In the movie, he lives, and Russell didn't agree with that context. So when he left, they got the Robert Carina to come in and do it, which he did an excellent job. But it's funny that we went from one Kurt Russell movie to now another one that was him involved.
That's true.
Al Pacino was actually cast to star as John Rambo, but he wanted to do it in a more madman way, and they said,
"Hooah!"
Yeah, they said no. We kind of want to give him more of a human aspect, which is what Stallone actually ended up writing the screenplay for. Stallone actually wrote the screenplay, and this is crazy. So I was reading this today. When this movie came out, he saw it. It was 3 hours long. Him and his agent hated it. They thought it was going to ruin his career. So they asked the studio to cut out as much of the John Rambo character as they could and let the other characters tell the story. So they dwindled it down to like 90 minutes of what we got today. It turns out it's the most successful movie outside of Rocky that Stallone had, because he had Paradise Alley, Fist.
What's funny is like we pick on Stallone, or like pop culture picks on Stallone as just like this goofy guy, but like he wrote the screenplay for this. He wrote the Rocky screenplay. He's actually a talented writer and knows how to write like a movie.
Yes, he actually is. He's a very good actor. He proved it in Copland. Totally something that wasn't even like up his alley. He gained a bunch of weight for it. He's also writing Tulsa King. He wrote a lot of that, which I actually like a lot.
Tulsa King's really, really good.
Mm-hmm. He wrote this so well that even the author of the original novel, David Morrell, said that he prefers the film over his novel, and that's like big time kudos to the film. Rambo's such a great movie. The sequels are what they are. They're just action money grabs. But this movie in general, like, it always hit home just because I've counseled veterans. I have family that are veterans, and it kind of like shows the trials and tribulations that they go through to some point. And especially in the final scene when he's talking about his friend who passed away from getting his Chevy convertible blown up. That was actually a true story from a real veteran that Stallone relayed in that monologue. And it was actually done really well. So it happens during Christmas time. I think it's a Christmas movie. Swole agrees. So
we're gonna give this 4 Christmas trees. This is a Christmas movie.
4 Christmas trees for this one. It'll be a Christmas movie. If you agree, let us know in the comments. But go ahead,
you can stream Rambo if you have a Paramount Plus subscription. It's available on Pluto TV for free. It's also available to rent for $3.99 on Amazon, Apple TV Plus, Vudu, any of those.
Brian, you don't like The Crow, so I don't know.
Yeah.
Oh my god! So that reminds me. This is totally off, totally off subject. Swole, I saw today a picture on Facebook of The Dark Knight when Heath Ledger walks into that room with all the mob bosses sitting down, and then the banker is basically on the TV screen.
Okay.
The cinematography of him walking into that room is the same when Brandon Lee walks into the room with all the gang leaders in The Crow.
I might need you to send me that picture.
I was saying, and it's like legit, like the way it's shot looks, and the way he points at him and says he's a squealer. It's the same thing of Lee points as at him, says I just want him, which is crazy because I was like, oh, Brian won't like it. I thought that was pretty cool. I don't know if Christopher Nolan drew some influence,
maybe some
from
inspiration from Alex Proyas.
Yeah, maybe, but it's pretty cool to think that oh, who the hell is this? Tricky Smith. Yeah, it's pretty cool that it's like something tied into it. I know it's off subject, but I just thought of it right now because I mentioned Batman.
I love it.
But let's get into our next one, Mr. Swoboda.
That's a hell of a lot less than he deserves. Listen, Bill, I don't think you realize what kind of trouble you were in last night. Who do you think those people were? Those were not just ordinary people there. If I told you their names, I'm not going to tell you their names, but if I did, I don't think you'd sleep so well.
1999's Eyes Wide Shut, directed by the great Stanley Kubrick, who also directed movies like Doctor Strangelove, 2001: A Space Odyssey, A Clockwork Orange, The Shining, and Full Metal Jacket. It stars Tom Cruise, Nicole Kidman, Sidney Pollack, and Marie Richardson. The movie had a box office of $162 million on a budget of $65 million. Swole, tell me about this movie and why you think it's a Christmas movie.
So I don't know if this is a Christmas movie. This is just one that happens to take place at Christmas time. I watched this afternoon, after the Bears game. Holy shit! Like, was Stanley Kubrick just like horny to see Nicole Kidman naked? Because this is fucking still, to me, to this day, one of the weirdest movies I've ever seen in my entire life. I know there's all kinds of subtext and like hidden plots, but like Tom Cruise and the orgy with the government officials, it just happens to take place at Christmas time. This is a weird fucking movie. And I know this was Kubrick's last thing. I know he was working on AI that Steven Spielberg finished after he finished with Poltergeist, but it's just so weird, and it just happens to take place at Christmas. What do you think about this movie, Yump?
So I'm gonna go right out and say this is a Christmas movie, but it's not a Christmas movie you want your family to be watching with you.
Hey, Grandma, come on over. We're gonna watch Eyes Wide Shut tonight.
Because it happens around Christmas, and just for the requirements of it's happening during a Christmas time, it can be considered a Christmas movie. Brian put in the comments, it's so weird because Kubrick died before it was cut. Actually, Kubrick released this he died 4 days after he gave the final cut to the studio.
Yep.
This movie to me is, I understand Fidelio. Yes, that's the safe word to get into the club.
To get into the orgy.
Yeah. Kubrick said before he passed, he said this is probably his best work. I think that's fucking crazy considering he did, other masterpieces like Full Metal Jacket. But from
Clockwork Orange is like the ultimate like Kubrick movie. So last night, Kelly and I went to go see Die Hard at the movie theater, and Ode to Joy from Beethoven is played throughout the entire Die Hard, right? It's just in the background everywhere. I go to Kelly, I'm like, I hate Ode to Joy. And she's like, why? I'm like, because it's Alex's favorite song in like Clockwork Orange. And it's fucked with me ever since I saw that and read the book. That's a Kubrick side note, but this movie's like, Stanley Kubrick was fucked up, dude. Like that dude was messed up.
Yeah. And the crazy thing is that Cruise and Kidman, who were married at the time, they signed open-ended contracts. So they agreed to work on this project until Stanley Kubrick released them from it. So they basically lived in England so long during these shoots because Kubrick has also always been known for a person that is constantly doing shots. There's actually a shot where Tom Cruise is in the billiard scenes, walking through the door when they're playing billiards. Just walking through the door had to be shot 95 times. That billiard scene was shot over 200 times. Kubrick had OCD when it came to shoot certain angles and the way things are shot. But it also comes through in the way his films are shot. They're beautifully shot, like
They
unique
are.
angles. This is a movie that, had high people like Harvey Keitel attached to it. He was actually starring in it as Vincent, but he had to drop out due to, the movie taking so long to be made. Victor, I'm sorry. And then Marianne Nathanson was also starred, and she got taken out. I thought it was pretty crazy, just the way the film is shot in terms of length is that Vanessa Shaw, who plays Domino,
Yeah.
she was only supposed to be shot for a week-long shoot. She ended up staying almost 2.5 months. That's how crazy Kubrick is. And one last note of trivia in terms of that role, Clarissa Explains It All star Melissa Joan Hart actually auditioned for the role of Domino, which I don't know if I could see her as Domino.
Did I ever tell you I met Melissa Joan Hart?
No.
So Melissa Joan Hart in 8th grade came to our middle school to talk about why you don't want to get hepatitis C. I swear to God, she came. She stood in our gym and talked to us and talked about the dangers of hepatitis C.
Oh my goodness, yeah. I love Melissa Joan Hart. Drive Me Crazy is one of my favorite movies.
Dude, same.
But yeah, this movie.
Vincent Chase is in it.
Yes, he is. After what was the name of the movie that bombed that he always wanted on Entourage?
Medellin.
Medellin. Yes, Medellin. But yeah, this movie, it's completely Kubrick style. It's fucking weird. I also didn't like one thing I didn't like about it is like society these days are obsessed with like Masonic shit, and like apparently Masons are all this secret society that have all these keys to rule the world. I have news to tell you. They don't. Okay. They don't.
Wait a minute.
Shit.
I just thought of. Is this what you're doing on Wednesday nights?
No. If this is what I was doing, I have a lot more enjoyable, fun life. Like the shit that I see, like that's what makes me laugh. Is that it's like, oh, the Masons, they do this, and to talk about crazy. There's a writer named David Icke who actually commented on this movie. He said, the Freemason mansion sequence is being very mild version of what really goes on in the elite society. But David Icke is also a person who believes in reptilians and wrote books on it that I saw that are completely way the hell out there. So I mean, you're gonna take my word or his. I'm just letting you know, like I haven't done any of this shit, and I don't know anybody who has. That's a Mason.
I believe you. I just like busted your balls.
And one of my Masonic brothers here just puts a smiley face because he knows it's like what the fuck are you talking about? But it's just, to me, it's just funny that this is something it's in a lot of movies. It's just this movie is more predominant.
In like National Treasure. Oh, we're gonna steal the Declaration of Independence. They were protecting it.
Yeah, come on, man. If I had the power to control the world, you think I'd be doing a podcast every
right? Or the podcast would be like it would be bought by a massive group, and we would get paid to just do it.
Yeah. So I mean, I don't know. Eyes Wide Shut is completely out there. It's a movie I watched again for this week to watch. I probably won't watch it again.
Yeah, I can't imagine.
It's not a very enjoyable movie to me. But
every time I go to the movies now and I see the stupid Nicole Kidman commercial, I'm just gonna think of this, and I'm like, holy shit, she was nuts.
Definitely. But she had a lot of respect for Kubrick. She said that he wasn't trying to exploit her, and they went through every scene that she was nude in, and she approved everything. So they must have had
I don't think she was nude in a movie before this.
No, she wasn't.
Yeah.
It's just weird, man. Brian ain't paying you for this. No, he's not. Son of a bitch.
It is a weird movie. And it was released in the heart of the summer as like a summer blockbuster.
Yes. It had a great song though from Chris Isaac, Did a Bad Bad Thing, which is one of the tunes that I remember from it.
Yeah.
I'm with Peter. Sexual Tension.
We get paid in sexual tension every other Friday.
All right. Let's move on to our next one.
Oh my God.
Mortimer, your brother's not well. We better call an ambulance.
Fuck him!
1983's Trading Places, directed by the great John Landis, who also directed The Blues Brothers, Coming to America, Animal House, Three Amigos, and American Werewolf in London. The movie stars Eddie Murphy, Dan Aykroyd, Jamie Lee Curtis, Ralph Bellamy, and Don Amici. It had a budget of $15 million and made a box office of $90 million. So this is one of my picks. Trading Places automatically to me is definitely a Christmas movie because it takes place during Christmas time. And as you can see, even in the poster, there are Christmas trees behind them. It's one of the best comedies that I always enjoy. I love Jamie Lee Curtis in this movie. I love Dan Aykroyd and Eddie Murphy's chemistry. I believe this is the first movie that will actually, propelled Eddie Murphy to stardom, that really got the ball rolling for him. It's something that I really liked when I first saw it, and I continue to like. I thought Don Amici and Ralph Bellamy were hilarious. I love the fact they do their cameo in Coming to America, another film with Eddie Murphy in the future. It's just a great storyline, and it's kind of like Piss on the Rich. I loved it. What do you think about it, Swell?
Not only is this a Christmas movie, not only is this a comedy, this is an elite Christmas movie comedy. This is absolutely my favorite Dan Aykroyd, Eddie Murphy movie. I watch it every year. My wife had never seen it before we watched it. This is top 10 comedy movies of me all time. In the same veins as Coming to America, Superbad, all those other movies. This is a fantastic movie. I couldn't love it more.
Definitely.
It's also the first time you saw Jamie Lee Curtis's tits in a movie.
Well, I mean, I guess, yeah. But I think her character is hilarious in this movie.
Ophelia?
Yeah. I think, too, the crazy thing about this movie is, like I said, it was like one of the big movies that propelled Eddie Murphy. This is also a movie that, Aykroyd didn't have John Belushi, who he was doing films with, afterwards. And he actually pays homage to Belushi in when his mugshot is taken. It's the same serial number as Jake Blues and the Blues Brothers.
Also, his douchebag brothers in the movie.
Oh God, yeah, it's bad.
But at least he's in the gorilla suit for most of the movie. For his scene in the movie.
Oh my God, yeah, the gorilla suit part. But it was pretty crazy that this movie was actually thought up as a Richard Pryor, Gene Wilder vehicle. You can kind of see it. They were known for doing buddy comedies. They both pulled out and they wrote the script for Eddie Murphy to do it with. But he wanted to do it with Gene Wilder. Gene Wilder was actually willing to do it, but Eddie Murphy's like, I only want to copy Richard Pryor. And they kind of parted ways and they hired Dan Aykroyd. And I think it was really good, really well done chemistry for both of them to go into it. And it's kind of funny, like nowadays when you think of Dan Aykroyd, you don't really think of him as like a really big comedic actor. But the stuff that he's done, like, he's Two Wild and Crazy Guys. He's done The Blues Brothers. He's done this movie. He's done The Great Outdoors. Stuff like Coneheads. Like now you kind of think of him as, everybody kind of reverts to him as the in Ghostbusters, or as the guy who does Skull Vodka. He's not as thought of as that comedic genius that he was back then. And this actually movie just shows it, how good he is.
Absolutely. And when this movie came out, he was like the pinnacle of like comedy and stuff like that. I can only imagine. Yeah, like I can only imagine like what it was like being on set making this movie, because it had to have been hilarious, right? Like you have two comedic geniuses, Aykroyd and Murphy. Not only that, but you have like my favorite character actor from the 80s, Paul Gleason, is in this movie as Clarence Beeks, right? He plays Clarence Beeks.
Mm-hmm.
And you're right. The Mortimer brothers are hilarious, and they reprise that role in Coming to America. And it's just a great comedy movie that should be watched like at the holidays.
Definitely should be watched at the holidays. It's a classic movie.
Yep.
I mean, if you haven't,
great choice.
Yeah, if you haven't seen it, I definitely recommend you watch it.
I do question though, like people that like think that this is on the fringe of being a Christmas movie, because it definitely fucking is.
Yes, it totally is. But Swell, where can they find Trading Places?
Oh, Trading Places is available to rent on Apple TV Plus, and it is free to watch on Amazon Prime.
Nice. So if you haven't seen it, check it out for your Christmas pleasure. It's definitely worth it. But let's get into our next film.
What do you want?
Ah, the direct approach. I admire that in a man with a mask. You don't really think you'll win, do you?
Things change.
1992's Batman Returns, directed by Tim Burton, who also directed the original Batman, Beetlejuice, Edward Scissorhands, Big Fish, Sleepy Hollow, and Mars Attacks, to name a couple films. Yeah, the movie stars Michael Keaton, Michelle Pfeiffer, Danny DeVito, Christopher Walken as the Great Max Shrek. Movie had a budget of $80 million and a box office of $260 million. So this is one of my picks, Swole. But I want to hear what you think about Batman Returns.
Batman Returns is to this day still my favorite Batman movie that's ever been made. Michael Keaton is not my favorite Batman. I love Michael Keaton as Batman. This is a debate for another time. We're staying away from that debate. But this is my favorite Batman movie. I love Batman Returns. Another movie that came out in June that takes place in the dead of winter in Gotham. Danny DeVito as Oswald Cobblepot is absolutely fantastic. His lines in this movie are so quotable. The scene where he has a video game like Batmobile, and he's controlling the real Batmobile, and the way that Pee Wee Herman, his dad, Paul Rubens, throws him off the bridge in a Gotham river, and he's raised by Penguin. It's absolutely a Christmas movie. It's an elite Batman movie. It's also a bondage and leather latex movie because those fetishists love Michelle Pfeiffer as Catwoman in that leather suit. Who and by the way, we still don't know if we've seen the last of Catwoman in the new Batman series, but she's the best Catwoman to ever exist in a movie. This is absolutely pure comic book genius. I love it.
Yeah, so this is my favorite Batman movie of all time.
Yeah.
I love the Nolan movies. This is my favorite one.
Do you remember the McDonald's promotions for this movie? The cups with the bat lid discs.
Yes.
If you ordered a Big Mac meal, you got a free Batman cup with the glow-in-the-dark Frisbee discs.
So you want to know something crazy about this? This movie reminds me of those commercials reminds me of another movie that has nothing to do with Christmas, but has to do with baseball, and it's called Little Big League. They actually discuss in the movie, what if Batman gets really hungry and wants to get something to eat? He's got a call from Commissioner Gordon. He's got to go through the drive-thru. And in the McDonald's commercial, this actually happens.
He got a call from Alfred.
Yeah, where he goes to the drive-thru. He gets a call from Alfred. He goes to the drive-thru. This to me is I think this is Tim Burton at his best in terms of making the character of Batman more dark and ominous. I love that the aspect of this. This is before Tim Burton got a little too carried away with some of his movies, which are usually weird, but they're good. But they can get really dark, like Sleepy Hollow or The Demon Barber. Good movies.
Sweeney Todd's a great movie, but yes, this took he took a real right turn.
Yeah, and to have Dan DeVito, I think is iconic as the Penguin. He'll go and tell you that he is the best Penguin because he's never seen any other ones. He'll also go and tell you that the best Batman is Michael Keaton because Michael Keaton was the Batman in the movie he was in. I thought this was nicely shot. It had a lot of comedy to it. Batman actually fucking kills a guy in this movie by kicking him in the chest when he has a bomb strapped to him, so he blows up. He didn't live through that. But Batman kills somebody in this movie.
Also, we're forgetting Christopher Walken as Max Shrek.
Yes. So I was going to bring this up. So Christopher Walken was cast as Max Shrek. One thing that was crazy about this was that Tim Burton did not want to cast him. Do you know why?
I have no idea. He didn't like the Deer Hunter?
No, it has nothing to do with the Deer Hunter. Somebody asked him, what about Christopher Walken for the Shrek role? And he said, I don't know if I want to cast that guy. He scares the shit out of me. So if you're scaring Tim Burton, you're doing something right. But Walken and him do have a working relationship. As you know, he was cast as the Headless Horseman in Sleepy Hollow later on. I think Christopher Walken, this is bread and butter Christopher Walken. The way he does his mannerisms, his dialogue, it's hilarious. And like he just brings so much more life to the movie. It adds more of a layer that's enjoyable.
There's
Max,
two
Mhm.
there's two things that like stand out to me with this movie. One is the evil circus that like takes over the city at the beginning of the movie. And the other is a gentleman named Andrew Bernarski. He plays Chip Shrek, Max's son. And he's also he also plays the dude in the program, the dude that is all juiced up. He's steroided up. He's such a fucking meathead. But yeah, this movie's so fucking good. I love it.
Yeah, it definitely is. A couple of little trivia trips here. Michelle Pfeiffer had 60 Catwoman outfits that had to be tried on to see which one fit the best. They each cost about $10,000 a piece, some ranging from 6 to 10. And all them suits were vacuum sealed. So she had to get her lines and stuff done quickly because she would pass out because of how tight the uniform was, the suit was, which I think is pretty crazy. She did learn how to use the whip her first time in training it. She actually slashed her trainer's face with the whip on accident, and he was a trooper and just kept going through the lesson, which I think is crazy. And she actually brought out the whip not too long ago to like showcase it again. I think she released it on social media with her cracking it. People thought she was coming back to Batman. Burgess Meredith, who played Batman, the character of the Penguin in the TV show Batman, most of us know him as Mickey from the Rocky series, but he was the original Batman, was actually asked to reprise his role as Chester Copperpot's parents. Unfortunately, he was ill at the time. He lived another 5 years after this movie was made, but he was ill at the time. So they went and got Paul Rubens and Diane Salinger from Pee-wee's Big Adventure, who played Simone and Pee-wee, of course, as his parents. And I think it'd been kind of cool to see Burgess Meredith as the Penguin's father, but seeing Paul Rubens and her in there made me laugh because they were like friends in the movie of Pee-wee's Big Adventure. Just to see Pee-wee in a movie that's not Pee-wee made me laugh.
Well, and it's cool that like Tim Burton obviously had a relationship with Paul Rubens and he wanted to continue to work with him. And if I'm not mistaken, like even this, I don't know when the Paul Rubens in the theater thing happened, but like it was before this.
Yeah, it was before that. So he got some work from
and he still got some work from Tim Burton.
Yeah, and Paul Rubin continued to get work, after this. It kind of helped, push him along. Benny the Jet, who's probably one of the greatest kickboxers. He's in play small roles. He actually trained John Cusack in kickboxing. He plays anything? He plays he's in Grosse Pointe Blank. He fights them in the when they're in the upstairs on the second floor of the high school.
Yeah.
He kills him with the pencil. He actually is in this movie as well as one of the clowns, which I thought was pretty cool. Just like little things like that was what I find is crazy. David Bowie was actually asked to be Max Shrek before Christopher Walken was cast, but he turned it down to do Twin Peaks. And I think that was actually a good choice by him because I liked Walken as Shrek and I liked David Bowie in Twin Peaks. So it was two perfect roles that
sometimes like a movie just has to come together and the right things need to go wrong and the other things need to go right. Like, can you imagine what The Matrix would have been like if it would have been Will Smith instead of like Keanu Reeves? Like, right. Well, yeah, no, that's what I'm saying. Right. Like sometimes like those casting things that like, oh, I missed out on this role. Well, that's probably for a good reason because this movie would have been completely different, like without Christopher Walken in it or as David. And I love David Bowie, right? But like with him playing that role instead of it, it's just a whole thing.
Definitely. And, Annette Bening was actually cast as Catwoman before Michelle Pfeiffer. She was pregnant at the time, so she had to drop out. And Michelle Pfeiffer took over. And like, I can't see Michelle Pfeiffer, nobody playing the Catwoman in this role besides Michelle Pfeiffer.
No.
Like, this movie is like
maybe Halle Berry.
No. I love Halle Berry, but she was a horrible Catwoman.
She was.
This is my favorite Batman movie. It's set in Christmas time. It's definitely a Christmas movie to me. If you haven't seen it, definitely check this one out. This one is actually better in my opinion, than the Burton original, because he has a lot more creative leeway in this film. Take. And going back and reading this, Burton and Keaton both say, they agree that it's their best Batman film they're a part of. I would have loved to see if there was with the third in the trilogy,
Yeah.
which was talked about, but again, the studio wanted to get involved some more and push back from Burton, and Keaton wasn't going to do it without Burton. It was nice to see Keaton come back in the newer movies. Newer movie, he was in newer movies, but they cut the other one. But it's kind of sad that what could have been is now. Keaton's almost 70 years old, so there's not really much you can do with him. But it was nice of him to give his little send off in the Flash.
I'm glad that he's back making movies because he took a break for a long time.
Yeah. Keaton, he took a break for his kids. Great actor, another underrated actor that doesn't get enough, his flowers.
Agreed.
But yeah, definitely check this one out if you haven't. Swole, where can they find Batman Returns?
Every Batman movie is available to stream on Max. It is also available to purchase on iTunes, Vudu, Amazon Prime, YouTube TV, but you can stream it for free with your HBO Max subscription.
Yes, and Brian, Sean Young did beat up Tim Burton because she didn't get the role in the first movie. It's Vicky.
Vale.
Yeah, Vicky Vale. I couldn't see her doing it. But with that, let's get into our last movie, Mr. Swoboda.
Do you know what Ed Gein said about women?
Ed Gein, maitre d' canal bar?
No, serial killer, Wisconsin in the 50s.
And what did Ed say?
He said, when I see a pretty girl walking down the street, I think two things. One part of me wants to take her out and talk to her, be real nice and sweet and treat her right.
And what the other part of him think?
What her head would look like on a stick.
American Psycho, directed by Mary Herron, who also directed I Shot Andy Warhol, The Notorious Betty Page, and Charlie Says. It's based off a novel by Brent Easton Ellis, starring Christian Bale, William Dafoe, Jared Leto, Josh Lucas, and Reese Witherspoon. The movie had a budget of $7 million and a box office of $34 million. Swole, tell me why you think American Psycho is a Christmas movie.
It's absolutely a Christmas movie. There's scenes in the movie where Reese Witherspoon's walking around saying Merry Xmas, Patrick, and carrying mistletoe, trying to get people to kiss her under the mistletoe. Merry Xmas, Patrick. And she's carrying a potbelly pig as a pet in one arm.
So that one scene made it a Christmas movie for you?
It's absolutely a Christmas movie. Absolutely a Christmas movie. I don't care. It's a Christmas movie.
So if I had a movie with just a fucking evergreen tree in the back, I would say it's a Christmas movie.
Don't care.
Like Tommy Boy's a Christmas movie because he beats the shit out of him in front of some evergreen trees.
Christmas movie. Wait, did they have Christmas lights on them?
No, but
no, it's not a Christmas movie. This is a Christmas movie.
So this is by far the hardest movie. I'm like, wait, why do you think this is a Christmas movie?
This takes place there's part of it that takes place at a Christmas party. Trading Places doesn't take place all on Christmas Day. It takes place over a span of months.
2 weeks. It takes place over 2 weeks.
2 weeks. This takes place in a span over a period of time as well. This is a Christmas movie, my friend.
I don't know, man, but you know what? I'll give this one to you because I think Miracle was. But just the fact,
I'll take a win where I can take a win. If you're gonna go, Miracle is not a Christmas movie, but this is, then I'm okay with it.
This is Christian Bale as Bruce Wayne in between the Batman scenes we didn't get to see. Could be, Sam. So we've talked about American Psycho before. It was on one of your favorite movies of all time.
It is. It's a top 5 favorite movie of all time.
Yes, it's a great movie. The book's actually very good as well. I know you've read it. I've read it.
I read anything that Bret Easton Ellis does because that dude does more cocaine than would kill a small horse because that dude does a lot of cocaine, and he writes movies that take place in like the 80s, like Rules of Attraction and he wrote Less Than Zero, which is did you say that at the same time? I love it. But he writes in that era kind of where I was like growing up, and I love his books. I love his movie. I love this movie. One, it's basically a horror movie, right? Without actually, it's more of a thriller. We'll call it a thriller. We won't go horror movie. But it's goofy. It's out there. Did it really happen? Did it not really happen? The nuances of the fucking business cards and the color of the business cards, right? The scene in this movie. and he kills Jared Leto, and I fucking hate Jared Leto, right? Anytime Jared Leto dies in a movie, I'm pro Jared Leto dying in a movie.
Wow, I didn't know you hate Jared Leto that
I'm
much.
not a Jared Leto fan. The scene in Fight Club where he absolutely just gets destroyed, and you see Ed Norton goes, I wanted to destroy something beautiful. I was like, all right. Like, I'm not a Jared Leto fan.
Yeah, he's a weird guy.
He's a weirdo. But the cast is fantastic. You have Christian Bale, Willem Dafoe, Jared Leto, Chloe Sevigny, Reese Witherspoon. Like, Willem Dafoe as the private detective is fantastic. This is just an elite top tier movie, and I love it.
Yeah. So the crazy thing about this movie is that Leonardo DiCaprio was actually cast as Patrick Bateman.
Oh, dude, the whole oral history of how hard it was to get this movie made. Like, Martin Scorsese was supposed to make it at some point. Like, the whole history of like what they had to go through to get this movie made is just nuts.
Maybe we can do something on that in the future.
Oh.
So DiCaprio was cast. He was charging for his fee to be Patrick Bateman $21 million. When he dropped out, Christian Bale lobbied for this role greatly. And for those who don't know, Christian Bale does not have a American accent. He's actually British. He perfected the American accent for this film, got himself in shape, and with his salary, the movie got into a budget of $7 million, which made a profitable movie due to making $34 million. I can't see Leo playing this role. I think Christian Bale did a great job doing it. I think Christian Bale is like a chameleon. I think he's probably one of the better character actors, going from Dickie and The Fighter.
My God, was he fantastic in The Fighter.
Yeah, going for playing in what's the movie with Johnny Depp when they're Public Enemies, playing Melvin Purvis in that movie. He's very good at chameleon his voice.
I want to backtrack a little bit about your Leo comment. I couldn't see Leo doing this movie at that point of his career, but I could see Leo doing this movie at this point of his career because his acting skills have gotten considerably better, and his ability to change the way he is perceived is completely different. He's not the same teeny bopper actor that he was, when Romeo and Juliet and Titanic when this movie was made. But like, I agree with you that I couldn't see him then, but if they were just doing it now, he could absolutely handle this role.
See, I don't think
so. And he kind of did. He played Jordan Belfort in Wolf of Wall Street, right? Like, it's kind of like.
But Jordan Belfort wasn't fucking killing people with an axe and then moonwalking with it.
Yeah, and I get it, but like, he still had that like Wall Street douchebag, like.
Yeah, I mean, he could play like a douchebag with the best of them, but I'm saying in terms of like, I don't know. See, I have to see how he does, because The Devil in the White City is going to come out, and I don't know, Scorsese does it. So he's supposed to play H.H. Holmes. So I want to see how he does in that role. I think Leo is a phenomenal actor.
He is, and I know you weren't knocking him.
My brother and me I give my brother shit because he thinks Leo is like one of the greatest. I don't think Leo's one of the greatest actors. I think he's a phenomenal actor. And the role that got me into Leo was Eating Gilbert Grape. I thought he really showcased his skills in that movie. Titanic, I thought was to me is a love story that was, teeny bopper love story. When he did,
like a brilliant, beautiful teeny bopper love story.
It is what it is. It's James Cameron's, love story to a boat.
Right.
And he just happened to be on it. But I think, when he did,
for me, it was the Basketball Diaries, where I'm
Basketball Diaries is another movie.
Leo can fucking act.
That's totally outside his realm, though. He plays like that's something that is outside his realm. And then you have like his stinkers, which I thought are good movies to me, like The Quick and the Dead, where he plays like a Billy the Kid kind of ripoff kid. Then you have his big movies like The Departed, Wolf on Wall Street, The Revenant. Like, those show his acting skills now. And he has developed into a great, he could be an asshole. Like, he was the Candyman in Django.
Yeah. Did you ever see that? It's going around on TikTok right now where like Robert De Niro's having a conversation with Martin Scorsese, and Leonardo DiCaprio comes over and interrupts him. He's like, "I need to talk to my director." And Robert De Niro's like, "Excuse me?" He's like, "You're a director?" He's like, "Yeah, I made 5 movies with Martin Scorsese." And Robert De Niro goes, "Oh, that's cute. I made 8 movies with Martin Scorsese." And they're just playing. They're having fun. It was a promo thing, but Yeah, like I the Leo thing is what it is. Like he's a fantastic actor. I would love to see what he could do with it today.
Yeah, if now going back, I think he I don't know if he would have crushed it like Bale would have.
Yeah,
Maybe today he could have, but like again, I have to see him as like the conniving like person that's
I
like
think
psychotic out of the fucking mind
I
character.
think you gotta watch Killers of the Flower Moon.
Oh, I mean, he plays an asshole in the movie, but
Oh my god.
he's not like a Patrick Bateman asshole.
He's not but he is, right? Like and that's all I'm gonna say.
And another movie that doesn't get a lot of praise that I think is really well done, my brother will say this as well, is Shutter Island. That's a great psychological movie that Leo plays.
I had this fucking debate with my dad on Monday when he came over, and he's like, I've only seen it once. I don't remember it. I think I got to go back and rewatch that.
Yeah, I definitely would check that one out. But
Okay.
American Psycho is and going back, reverting back and not going too far off, but American Psycho is a Christmas movie in both of our opinions. A couple trivia facts about this one. Johnny Depp actually expressed interest in playing the lead role. I love Johnny Depp. He couldn't do it, in my opinion. Ian McGregor was offered a role. Patrick Bateman, another great actor. I don't know if he can do it the way Christian Bale did, but when he declined, he actually pushed Christian Bale to do it more because they're friends. The moonwalk with the axe is what I talked about earlier. That was improvised. You know, Bateman basically did the wake up routine. Christian Bale did the wake up routine of Patrick Bateman every morning while filming this movie, which I think is hilarious because he stays in the character. He's a very big character actor.
Yeah.
And Whitney Houston, she refused to have any of her songs used in this film. I think she probably should have because she needs some money at the time. But
I mean,
what can you say?
Huey Lewis didn't care, so
yeah, that's another thing. Huey Lewis got like I think I got a little resurgence with this movie because he's such a big factor in it.
he really is.
But if you haven't seen American Psycho, tell people where they can find it as well.
American Psycho is available to stream on Max, and it is available to rent on any of your major rental distributors.
Awesome, my friend. So those are our 6 movies. We kept it a short list on our way back. So we want to give you guys, kind of like let the soak in. Let us know what you guys think at Yumper and Soul on Twitter or on Facebook at the Statistic Penguin Studios or on this YouTube channel. But with that, we still have a couple more segments that we're going to get into. And one of our regular segments is News and Rumors.
I love news and rumors.
So Swole, tell us about some news and rumors, my friend.
So the Video Game Awards at IGN happened this week, right?
Mm-hmm.
And they announced some new video games. One of them is a Blade video game, right? So my question for you with news and rumors with this Blade video game, does this get you any more or less excited for the future of Marvel?
So I think Blade is something that I was actually excited for when it was kind of hinted in the end of
The Eternals.
Eternals.
Yeah.
Yes. I thought that was something that was kind of cool. I want to see how they transition from the Wesley Snipes Blade because that's who we all know. I know there was a TV series of Blade that was on TNT or TBS that was okay.
I think it was on Spike.
Oh, Spike. Okay.
Remember Spike?
Yeah. Yes, I do remember Spike. So it was on TV, but it didn't really get the love that it should have gotten. I hope that Kevin Feige and Marvel, take care of it and nurture it to where it could be something good. The video game I think is gonna be awesome. The Blade video game was awesome when it was made. My favorite Blade movie is Blade 2 with Guillermo del Toro. I love that movie. It's like what made me really go into his work when I learned he made it and it kind of propelled him in his career.
Yeah.
I'm looking forward to it. I'm cautiously optimistic that they'll be okay with it.
I think that's a fair assessment. But does it get you any more excited knowing that they're doing other avenues of media, like for what is in store cinematically?
I think so. I think it's kind of nice, to branch out. Like Kevin Feige came out and said that Tony Stark's dead. They're not going to revisit him. They're not bringing him back.
I mean, I like that.
Which I think is like, that's a big, for one, that kills a lot of potential because a lot of people do kind of want him back. But 2, that's putting your foot in the, in the ground, like drawing a line in the sand saying we're doing something new. And I always like that. I do like the avenue they're going in. I think, just not even in films, in series. I like She-Hulk. I don't. I know a lot of people hate it, but I liked it because it was something different, and it's kind of shot in the way the character was made. I do like Daredevil. I think Daredevil, they're bringing a new series back with that. The Punisher was always one of my favorite ones. I tore through that series, and now they're bringing it back. He's reviving other series, and now we have Blade coming out. There's talk about him actually looking into X-Men now. Bringing X-Men back in his own way of bringing it back. That they're not going to see how they're going to pull the Deadpool universe into this universe. It's kind of nice to see how they're going to mix things up. I really want to see the Sinister Six to see if they bring them back, but I'm looking forward to it. Fantastic Four has been talked about. Javier Bardem has been talked about being named as Mr. Fantastic. So he's trying new avenues to bring other franchises back. I do like that they're bringing Blade back. I want to see something about maybe Ghost Rider, a different version of it.
Yeah, not Nicolas Cage.
A Latino version of it, because Ghost Rider is Latino now.
Yeah.
Bring that back, but I don't know. I'm not too burnt out from it, but I don't consume Marvel like I used to either.
I don't, and that's I haven't even seen the Marvels yet.
Yeah, I haven't seen the Marvels. I just barely got into Loki because I've been so busy. Loki is great, by the way. I just got into Loki again to finish it off. I like what he's doing with the universe, and there is going to be fatigue for any genre, of things. And comic book fans are as crazy as Star Wars fans. They're gonna shit on shit, and they're gonna love stuff. That's just the way it is. But for people to say there's a big fatigue with comic book movies, well, yeah, there is. But comic book movies have had their run for almost 20 years and making blockbuster films.
I think not only that, but like the catalog or the source material it's been going on for longer than that, right? Mm-hmm. There's still so many stories that people want to be told. I just want to be excited by them again. And I think Blade is something that, like, I heard that there was going to be a Blade video game, and I was like, oh, cool. Like, because I'm waiting for the Marsala Ali version of Blade. The only thing that's disappointing is that this Blade video game is going to be an Xbox exclusive.
Oh, that's okay with me.
That's okay for you, right? That's okay for you, but I cannot play it. All right. Well, then I got one more thing for news and rumors if you're ready for it.
Yes, sir.
I know that this is going to hit close to home. So Kurt Russell has recently been interviewed about a potential sequel to Big Trouble in Little China and what it would take for that to happen. Yumper, as someone who's that is your favorite movie of all time, tell me your thoughts on a potential sequel to Big Trouble in Little China if it were to happen.
So it's funny because when I first read about this, I was like, how are they going to do it? This is like me being a nerd going on the forums back in the day, looking at it, because this has been in development hell for a long time. Then I heard Dwayne Johnson, bought rights to it and was developing it. Then I heard he was going to star in it. And I'm like, is this a fucking remake? Which I started reading quotes from John Carpenter, who said, the studio doesn't know what the fuck to do with my movie, and they won't pay homage to it correctly. Which I'm like, please. It got to the point where a lot of Big Trouble in Little China fans went out and were like sending messages to the studio, tagging him in social media, sending letters to the studio saying, you can't have Dwayne Johnson be Jack Burton. Like, Kurt Russell has to be back. To the point where Dwayne Johnson had to come out publicly and say, no, I'm not playing Jack Burton. I'm playing a totally different character. So to me, it's like, do I want it to happen? Not really, unless John Carpenter is involved. And from what I'm seeing, like, Carpenter is not going to, he might just take the check if it's made, because that's what he does with all the Halloween movies. But I don't think he's going to want to be involved unless he has creative control over it. I think Kurt Russell is just being Kurt Russell, a nice guy, saying he would do it if only John is involved and directs it, because he knows John's going to say no if they don't give him creative control. In a perfect world, John would come on, and I would like to see his vision, to have a big Trouble in Little China sequel with the production value and the backing of a studio, because that movie was not backed. That movie did bomb at the box office. It wasn't even promoted correctly. The only reason it became so big is because it's a cult classic.
Yeah.
It'll be nice to see that promoted correctly right now. And I would like to get, if it, in a perfect world, I'd like to get it done before John, passes away, because John's pretty old. But it's not going to happen. I'm not looking forward to it because I think it's going to be another Hollywood shit stain. That's just me. What about you?
I mean, so I don't love the movie like you do.
Mhm.
I don't dislike it. I like it a lot. I love John Carpenter movies. But I feel no way towards anything anymore in Hollywood, because they'll remake whatever they want to remake if they think it will make money. They don't care what fans of the original say, what they do. They're making another goddamn Karate Kid movie with sorry, why am I having a brain fart?
Ralph Macchio.
With Ralph Macchio and Jackie Chan. Right?
Well, at least they're including the original one in there.
Yeah, at least they're including the original one, but they don't care. If it makes money, Hollywood's going to do it. That's all that matters. So I'm almost numb to the remakes at this point. If I see it, I see it. If it's good and it entertains me, cool. I'm not going to hate on it, because it can never change the way I feel about the original one. But I heard they're replacing Jonathan Majors as Kang with Andy Milonakis, but only if he sings the theme song from the Andy Milonakis show.
Man, Andy Milonakis, man, I really thought that was like a kid when that show came out.
I know.
I thought that was a grown man.
It was a grown man, but I love the theme song to that show. Yeah, no, I don't care. Whatever, it is what it is.
Yeah, I'm not a big fan of it. I think I wish they would go with original thought, but I mean, who am I to tell Hollywood what to do?
There's still some original thoughts out there somewhere. It's just they're fewer and far between.
I would like them to release a new Blu-ray with special features and
and a 4K restoration of it.
Yeah, and maybe like a back behind the scenes documentary with it. That would be kind of cool, but I highly doubt they do that.
Yeah.
But I still love you, Kurt Russell. But that's our news and rumors, Mr. Svoboda. And we have one more segment with Swole's final thought. But before we get to that, I just want to say thank you guys for watching and listening this week. The show, if you're watching live on YouTube, thank you so much. But just a heads up, the audio version will be coming out later on tonight. I'll post that to all our feeds on Spotify, Apple Music, and Stitcher, if Stitcher still exists. Be sure to follow us at Yumper and Swole on Twitter or the X, and check us out on our YouTube channel, Sadistic Penguin Studios. Where we're growing, baby. We're getting up there.
Yep.
We just hit 500 subscribers, so thank you to everyone who subscribed. We're just chugging along. Also, Mr. Svoboda and Eugene from Eugene to Tallahassee will be on the Chicago Sports Bums tomorrow at 9 p.m. Is that correct, Swole?
Yes, I will be on there with my other podcast partner, Luke, Bruhan Luke. You guys might know him. And we're going to be talking bowl season and college football. My two loves, I get to talk back-to-back nights, movies and college football. So,
hey, we are humble, Sam. We are humble. But yes, so check them out. Check out the Bums. Give them a follow. Also, give a follow to the Asscast. There you go, Sam. Give a follow to the Asscast. They're hilarious. I've been on their show before. Ryan's on their show. Swole's still waiting for his invite. But
I'm still waiting for the invite, bro.
He'll get it. But yeah, their stuff is great. Very unique takes on everything.
It's pretty funny. It's pretty funny stuff.
Yes.
They're always really, really supportive of us. So we love them.
And King Ass is in the comments all the time.
King Ass did not judge me today when I told him that I bought a Patrick Williams Bulls jersey.
Oh my God. Jeez, I don't know why you bought. That's a waste of money. But
Sam and Brian didn't think so. So
yeah, it's a waste of money. But with that, let's get into our Swole's final thought.
In my thoughts, I use the technique of positive visualization.
Did we jump the gun on
we
final
jumped the gun.
thought? We jumped the gun on my final thought. It's okay. It's okay.
Okay. Let's do coming soon first.
Let's do coming soon. So Yumper and I were texting earlier this afternoon, and we have planned out our next 2 months almost. But our next episode will be. Are we gonna do it Christmas Eve?
Well, what's this? The 17th. Yeah, we can do Christmas Eve.
Let's do a matinee, keeping with movie theme. Let's do a matinee Christmas Eve.
Yes, let's do it that way.
All right. So we're gonna do a matinee Christmas Eve show where we're gonna be talking about Christmas horror movies.
Yeah, so check that one out. That will be Christmas Eve. It'll probably be during the 12 o'clock, 1 o'clock hour.
Yeah.
We'll post that out. Be sure to check that one out. And we also got 2 more big shows planned out in next year. So check those out. One going to be a deep dive into a particular film that we're going to try to do. One of those. See how that goes.
Eye emojis.
Yes. So check that one out. But now we can get into Swole's final thought. I'm not going to play the video again.
That's okay. We don't need to play the video again. Guys, we have so much content coming out on the Penguin Network. We've talked about it a little bit already. Drafty Pod is putting out consistent podcasts that are really, really fun to watch. The board game episode the other night with Yumper was hilarious, even though my comments in the chat were terribly misspelled because I was in an Uber on the way home and my Wi-Fi or my cellular network was dropping in and out. But Drafty Pod's putting out awesome content. We have people that are writing for us every week. Roxy, comic punk guy. We have the hookup on music. Tony is absolutely crushing it every Wednesday. You got something up?
No.
Okay. Yumper and Svo. Yumper and Svo. We're getting back into the swing of things. We still record. We're both busy, right? I'm getting there, Brian. Marge is putting out YouTube shorts, TikTok videos for our network, videos on the X or the Twitter account.
Moments of Madness.
Yeah, and Marge Madness. I love that. But we're always trying to put out more content, and we know it's goofy. We know that sometimes like there's so much content out there for you to digest that we're just grateful that you choose to digest any of ours at all. Sometimes it's like corn and you don't digest it, right? But I also have the college football pod, and our friends are putting out great stuff too. The Ass Crew, the Bums, the 108, all those dudes. So thank you for watching with us and choosing to spend your time with us. And we'll see you next 2 Sundays from now. 2 Sundays from now on Christmas Eve for our matinee episode of Chris's Horror Movies. Until then, take care of each other. Deuces.